born of ocean's mire, and death washed clean of dark desire.
Too much clutter.
And thus the Lord of Salt and Scale sinks to feed the fishes that flit amongst the ruins of Soartha. Come and jest of his divine juices while they are all washed away.
How did you? You're still breathing. Bloody barnacles on me arse. You, my new friend, are a legend of the high seas to behold. I tell you what, I've already done my bit getting you here, but if you're looking to sail onto Frisia, me and the Black Crest would be honored to take ya. Hold on to your cockles, me hearty. The sea betwixt here and Frisia be the most ill-tempered there is. Here's hoping you've as much steel in your gizzard as you seem to in your heart. Cast off! see a broken bridge speaks to me so. A fair place to rest my old bones for a bit. And tell you what, with all this sunlight and fresh air, I can feel the calling forth of the poetic muse beneath me trousers. Been a long time since I felt this here compass point in any direction. Now, speaking of navigations and the like, a long time ago, I had me a nice collection of riches stuffed away in a lockbox. Being the stupid ass that I am, I buried the thing one eve when I was high in my cups. Can't for the death of me remember where except I know it was near this broken bridge. The box has a silver locket in it. It holds the portrait of my late wife, Meredith. It's the last thing I have in this world to remember her by. If you happen across my lockbox in your travels, I'd be appreciating of its return. It's a bit of an embarrassing affair, truth be told. Thought I could return to the golden days, you know. Be a terror of the high seas like in my youth. Problem was, they'd all forgotten me. Those young blighters sailing about, they had no clue who I even were. Figured if I could complete another great feat, like slaying that sea bitch merveil, maybe that'd earn me my respect back. Suppose I don't need to tell you, that girl is stronger than she looks. All it took were one slip of the old hands, and next I knew, the Black Crest wrecked against the coast, and I'm getting myself eaten alive by that hag. Peeled each separate muscle from my bones, she did. I tell you, it weren't pretty. I know Lily be missing me something great, and it cuts me deep not to go visit the lass. Thing is, I reckon she should remember me as I was, not retch at the sight of the spectre I be now. Let the legend live on in her mind, I say. Think of the worst place ye can imagine. That's Pondium. Now think of the gods be damned best whorehouse you've ever had the pleasure of. That's Pondium. A pirate paradise full of bodies to stab, holes to fill, and devious liquor to imbibe. Brine rots control the whole island and make sure it lives up to the lowest of expectations. Can't imagine much has changed since I was there last. Still, it's a good place to swashbuckle and make love to a bawdy, buxom bunter out back of a boozy bar. Aye, them brine rods be a nasty bunch. Led by me very own flesh and blood, me baby sister Lucy. The rot mother, they call her now. Used to be that I were their leader, back when the brine rots were about one thing, and one thing only, raiding, pillaging, and plundering their scrawny black guts out. Old Lucy were me first mate, for years. But she got a whiff of the power that being captain could gain her, and mutineered me own sister. Dropped me on some deserted island off the coast of somewhere. The bitch. Took months to make it back to the mainland. That brine rot clan's been trouble ever since. Used to have some good old-fashioned pirate on her. And now, they're raving mad lunatics out for their next fix of fear and fortune. Now, speaking of navigations and the like, a long time ago, I had me a nice collection of riches stuffed away in a lockbox. Being the stupid ass that I am, I buried the thing. Here our ways divide.
Judging by that rather curious ship and its errant captain, I imagine you had rather an interesting voyage here. Now, Inquisitor Maligaro, we must have his soul. He has most certainly returned to his old haunt, yet his manifestations are like wisps on the wind. There one moment, gone the next. While I am familiar with the phantasmal trails and tributaries that filigree this reality, Meligaro's exact whereabouts eludes me. You should speak with these desperates who cling to this broken bridge, that young Templar scholar in particular. Their mundane knowledge must provide where my enlightened sapiens cannot. There was a time before the beast, bathed in the shadows of lost memory, when men and women like you could ascend. Through rareness of quality and the adoration of their people, these few could reach out into the quickening mists of immortality and grasp the power of godhood. Mind you, transcendence is never easy. Like the pains of childbirth, it reeks of agony, tragedy, and sacrifice. The sacrifice most often being of one's humanity. That is simply the way of it. Those of us who seek the immortal throne live long enough to see ourselves become truly monstrous. Judging by that rather curious ship and its aberrant captain, I imagine you had rather an interesting voyage here. Now, Inquisitor Meligaro, we must have his soul. He has most certainly returned to his old haunt, yet his manifestations are like wisps on the wind. There one moment, gone the next. While I am familiar with the phantasmal trails and tributaries that filigree this reality, Meligaro's exact whereabouts eludes me. You should speak with these desperates who cling to this broken bridge, that young Templar scholar in particular. Their mundane knowledge must provide where my enlightened sapiens cannot. Goodbye.
Yes, you do seem to have a penchant for presenting yourself when times are at their most perplexing. It would seem that our Almighty has forsaken us. False deities from ages past now rise and ravage, while our blessed innocence remains as silent as the stones at my feet. So much for Templar propaganda, eh? Well, I suppose if we are to fend for ourselves, then I should answer your troubling arrival with our own most pressing tribulation. The relic that washed ashore and started all the chaos. It was covered in ancient Val inscriptions. Symbols were much weathered, making them challenging to translate. Yet I did my best. The inscriptions spoke of the god Ralakesh. If this object somehow housed the spirit of that many-faced monstrosity, then I fear we are all in danger. Ralakesh was renowned for his penchant for subjugation and control. Please, I urge you to destroy this god before his strength and dominance grow insurmountable. Nip this divine threat in the bud, as it were. Our poor friend, Grust, has likely become Ralakesh's avatar in this world. At least his recent behavior would indicate as much. If you could see to Grust's passing, Ralakesh will be forced to retreat into the relic. Destroy the relic, and perhaps you will also destroy the god. Yes, Ralakesh, the god of many faces. I read about this god when I looked after the museum in Theopolis. It said he was obsessed with governance, in particular the control of humanity through our base animal instincts. He ruled over the citizens of one unfortunate Val city. Alas, the name escapes me. Yet I do recall that his experiments brought his subjects to the brink of extinction, and that he was forced to enslave many a primitive Asmerian of the time so as to repopulate his domain. Though I shudder at the thought, I can only imagine that Ralakesh has rather similar plans now. It started with a few mumblings in his slumber, then long forays into the wilds, searching for relics of a distinctly arachnid nature. I thought it a natural extension of Silk's eccentric persona at first. Then came the sleepless nights studying those relics, the fevered recitations in broken varnish, the strange 8-phase rituals. Then one night Silk gathered his collection and scuttled off into the darkness without a word. Silk has always been susceptible to fine fictions. Perhaps he has finally shunned reality altogether. A fascinating case that flies in the face of all that is natural. Whalem is undead for sure. Something we have in spades in Rayclast. But a sentient, reasonable ghost? Now that is rare indeed. When we talk, I feel as if I'm staring into the breach, witnessing that which man was not meant to know. I have theorized about what animates the pirate's essence, how he manages to manifest on this earth once again. I think I shall compile my observations and speculations into a book. Yes, Eramir's Elucidations of Undeath. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think? The relic that washed... The end of learning is the beginning of death.
You arrive. The Great Spirit spoke in my dreams, told me that darkness would again drown our lands. And you, Exile, would walk before the flood. But what is this? You are not alone. A shade, a memory, older even than... No, older than spirit? Fear grips my throat. I shake, but the spirit drapes a warming cloak upon my shoulders. This ancient ghost that follows you, it has the trust of the spirit. And if the spirit trusts, then I trust. My heart weeps for our old home. But what the spirit gives, we must embrace. The spirit, it claims who it needs to, when it needs to. There is no sense in sadness. I watch Silk for many days, scurrying to this old Val stone, scurrying to that old Val ruin, always muttering. He talked and talked and talked, yet I heard no one answer. The spirit warned that I should stay away from him. It pained me. Silk is my friend, yet I must listen to spirit. I go from Silk's side, and now he is gone from mine. I do not know where Silk go, but I see him in dreams. He is caught in great spiderweb that stretch into darkness. And that spiderweb, it is full of bones. More bones from more people than I ever see in my life. If you find Silk, please, free him from the web. Don't let him become bones like the rest. Rayclast has changed. Once, I knew my place in this world. I knew my place within the spirit. Now, doorways have opened. Doorways I can neither see nor touch, but through which the spiritless ones pass all the same. The spiritless ones must be driven back. Their doors must be closed. May the Great Spirit guide you in your battles against these ancients that mean us nothing but ill. I belong to no one but the Spirit. I have no need for the sweet words and caresses of a ghost. Whalem, he makes me laugh, and he hears the voice of the Spirit. Not in the same way I do. His Spirit speaks of the great waters beyond this land. He pays heed to the Spirit, and the Spirit loves him for it. I do not. It is better to speak to the dead than no one at all. Whalem knows the Spirit, but he will not know me. Hello?
Turn your back for the barest moment and Rayclast bites you in the proverbial. I imagine that's how you're feeling upon visiting us this time. It's how I feel about now. I'm afraid that the Inquisitor's spirit has indeed returned to the Chamber of Sins. Yet while you won't encounter Meligaro by wandering his halls, I do perhaps know how you can find him. Whilst investigating the Fell Shrine, I learned of the existence of a map, forged by Meligaro from his own viscera. This map allowed him to transfer his spirit into another form of existence, an existential safe house to which he could retreat should death ever attempt to take him. Understanding the map's purpose, Vol tried to destroy it, to no avail. So he locked it away deep within the ruins of Frisia Cathedral. Find that map and place it upon the Reverie device in Meligaro's old laboratory. And when you step over that threshold, expect the very worst. Don't get me wrong, I've witnessed many unsettling things in my lifetime, but a spectral corsair living next door to me? We reside in dark times indeed when the living need share their quarters with the dead. I didn't think it possible for Silk to grow any more peculiar, but then I've been wrong about so many things since coming to Rayclast that I shouldn't have been at all surprised. Still, it's interesting that his behavior of late has mirrored that of certain Templar zealots I had the dubious pleasure of meeting back in Theopolis. Like them, Silk appeared obsessed with finding answers to this reality in some ethereal realm of divinity. For my part, I prefer to keep faith in this world. The answers that come from beyond are seldom the ones we want. My poor Groost, a kind man, a strong man. And now, I begged him not to meddle with that relic. It washed ashore after the earthquake, and Groost simply had to know whether it was a danger to us. To me, the unholy thing within that device. It possessed Groost, turned him into a monstrosity. We fled the village, and as I turned back, I saw he was killing them. The stragglers, killing them all, even the children. My Groost is dead. That thing that has stolen his body. Please, destroy it. I'm aware that you and Groost had something of a commercial relationship prior to his accident. As is the Asmeri custom, Groost's few possessions have now passed to me. I'm by no means the warrior he was, yet I know my blades and bows well enough. At least it's something I can do to honor his memory, and to keep my mind off things. Journey well.
Thank the gods. You're no saint, I can see that. Though, who am I to question what form divine providence comes in? I am the great Alva Valai, reliquarian extraordinaire. A seeker of mysteries, explorer of the unknown, lover of all things that glitter, and I need your help. The lost temple of Answat. Halls lined with finery, boxes stuffed with glimmering riches, and relics touched by insurmountable power. The eons lost to history, until now. I believe the secret of its location lies in the Val City, which until very recently was submerged and completely unreachable. But with all that's going on, the city has risen from the depths and, well, it's still completely unreachable. It seems the only way to even get close is across the river, and the only crossing is overrun with bandits. I have a plan that could make both of us unbelievably wealthy, but perhaps one day. I believe the secret of its location lies in the Val City, which until very recently was submerged and completely unreachable. But with all that's going on, the city has risen from the depths and, well, it's still completely unreachable. It seems the only way to even get close is across the river, and the only crossing is overrun with bandits. I have a plan that could make both of us unbelievably wealthy.
I'd hoped for a chance to see Nessa again. Dreamed it like some poor bloody child believing in fairy tales. No, she's not one of us anymore. But at least she's not like Mervale either. Can't overlook a mercy like that. Who knows? Perhaps Nessa is better off this way. Not like this is much of a home to come back to anyway. Look, I know you did what you could. For that, you'll always have my thanks. Stay sharp out there.
The Black Crest. She lives again. And my granddaddy. Still can't believe Mervale did that to him. The vilesome bitch. At least his spirit roams free once again. Wonder if he'll come and visit his favourite granddaughter one more time. Anyways, with the Brine King gone, you've done a fine thing for us seafarers. The waters won't no longer pander to the whim of an overgrown, bloody crustacean. And damn me if I don't feel a stirring in me loins. It's the ocean, calling, like a lust-starved lover. But for now, bugger it all. I'll be sticking about Lion Eye's watch until I get me a new ship. Don't feel sorry for me. With me womanly wiles as sharp as they are, I'll be having Tarkley help me pass the time. Just you see.
Clearly the old Brine King wasn't worth his salt. A fish out of water, if ever there was. But, I suppose, as someone wise once said, you can't teach a crab to walk straight. Too much. Yeah, be honest with you. All this fishy mirth is me just swimming around a tricky topic. Nessa. She's not coming back to us, is she? Can't say I'm surprised. But with everything she's been through, what she's become. I wish her all the happiness she can find out there in the sea. More than she could muster on this God's awful land of ours. You've the debt of the mighty Black Crest under your feet, and old Whalem himself to man the helm. Well, I'll be a pirate's monkey, mate. You sure do know how to travel in style, Exile.
Here for a deal? Don't drink the water.